Dave Chappelle is. He's a great comedian, but I don't think he's a great comedian. I think he is a genius. And Dave Chappelle has been one of those people over the years, through all the craziness that's been going on in the world, there's a way of bringing things kind of back down a level, you know, like a conversation level where people can get along. So as we all know, Dave Chappelle, he does say some things that are controversial, and that's what comedians do, but he always has a lesson. And the lesson here is he's gone too far, and he's just talking about reeling it in. So let's hear what Dave Chappelle has to say on the subject.
I didn't realize at the time, and what Kevin had to learn the hard way, is we were breaking an unwritten and unspoken rule of show business. And if I say it, you'll know that I'm telling you the truth. The rule is that no matter what you do in your artistic expression, you are never, ever allowed to upset.
I was the biggest Jim Carrey fan in the world. Now, I'm not going to go all into it, but Jim Carrey is talented in a way that you can't practice or rehearse. What a God-given talent. I was fascinated with him. And Norm knew that. And he called me up and he goes, Dave, he says, I'm doing a movie with Jim Carrey. Do you want to meet him?
Dude, he's got his voice down dead to rights.
I said, fuck, yes I do. And it was the first time I could remember since my father died being excited. And the movie was called Man on the Moon. I didn't know any of this. And in this movie, Jim Carrey was playing another comedian I admired, the late, great Andy Kaufman. Yes, and Jim Carrey was so immersed in that role that from the moment he woke up to the time he went to bed at night, he would live his life as Andy Kaufman. I didn't know that. When they said cut, this nigga was still Andy Kaufman. So much so that everybody on the crew called him Andy. I didn't know any of that. I just went there to meet him, and when he walked into the room where we were supposed to meet, I screamed, Jim Carrey! And everyone said, no! Call him Andy. And I didn't understand. And then he came over and he was acting weird. I didn't know he was acting like Andy Kaufman. Just like, hey, how you doing? And I was like, hello.
Yeah, did you see that, the Truman Show? That he did such a good job as Andy Kaufman. Was that the Truman Show? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Andy? Now, in hindsight, how fucking lucky am I that I got to see one of the greatest artists of my time immersed in one of his most challenging processes ever. Very lucky to have seen that. But as it was happening, I was very disappointed. Because I wanted to meet Jim Carrey, and I had to pretend this nigga was Andy Kaufman all afternoon. And he was clearly Jim Carrey. I could look at him and I could see he was Jim Carrey. Anyway, I say all that to say, that's how trans people make me feel.
Wow, so, you know, didn't see that coming at all, right? Like, how did he weave that into the story to kind of throw that lesson out there? You know, it's very brave of him to do. He's been very brave in some of the things he said. You know, even that Clayton Bigsby KKK, which was, I think that was comedy genius, and his ability to pull that off and to make fun of, you know, all of that, you know, very sensitive, those sensitive issues. It just shows you the genius of the guy. Yeah, so I think it was Man on the Moon for Andy Kaufman, but I remember that they tried to shut him down. The Netflix tried to shut down his special because he said these things. And this isn't the first time. You know, he walked away from, I think it was $50 million because on the Chappelle show they were trying to have him do skits and stuff that he didn't want to do. And he felt that something wasn't right. So, you know, this isn't the first time he stood up for what he thinks.
What I didn't realize at the time, and what Kevin had to learn the hard way, is we were breaking an unwritten and unspoken rule of show business. And if I say it, you'll know that I'm telling you the truth. The rule is that no matter what you do in your artistic expression, you are never, ever allowed to upset the alphabet people. You know who I mean. Those people that took 20% of the alphabet for themselves. I'd say the letters, but I don't want to conjure their anger. That's too late now. I'm talking about them L's and them B's and them G's and the T's. People be surprised. I have friends, all kinds of letters. Everybody loves me, and I love everybody. I got friends who are L's, I got friends who are B's, and I got friends who are G's. I watch sports, I be thinking about, think about, okay, say LeBron James changed his gender. You know what I mean? Okay, can he stay in the NBA, or, because he's a woman, does he have to go to the WNBA where he will score 840 points a game?
If LeBron James did that, he would have all the records for a lifetime achievement probably within 1 year.
You know, you hear all those letters together all the time, LBGT, LBGT, and you think it's just one big movement. It's not. All those letters are their own movement. They just travel in the same car together. And my guess is, what does it actually mean to be equal? You know what I mean? Like, if women are actually equal to men, then there would be no WNBA, would there? You would just be good enough to play in the NBA with us. Or, here's another idea that's going to be very controversial. You could shut the fuck up.
Okay, so that's Dave Chappelle. You know, if you don't like Dave Chappelle, you don't have any humor in your soul. He's hilarious. He always has been, and you know, in my lifetime, he's been the best comedian. You know, Eddie Murphy, he was there. You know, some other guys, but you know, I like some of the old school Red Fox stuff, Richard Pryor. But I have to say that Dave Chappelle's kind of covered all bases, and I would say that he's the best comedian of my lifetime. I don't know. That's what I think. Tell me what you think. You think Dave Chappelle's the best, or you think there's some other comedians that are better? I know there's some underground guys that are really funny, but I'm just saying, for a whole body of work, you know, what the guy's been able to achieve, way he bounced back, came back, and the subjects that he covers, Dave Chappelle, if he's not the best, man, he's pretty close to it. That's all I have for now. Do me a favor. Before you leave, could you like, share, subscribe? And do me a favor. Leave a comment in the chat. And I'm out.